Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Where this is going to be recorded, so please, especially people that are going to be saying things, it will be played on TV for a whole month. So make your questions relevant and don't talk amongst yourself. The purpose of this is to educate everybody what UCO does, what WPRF does, and what the responsibility of the associations are. When I started this about 18, 19 months ago, the association had about 10 lines. And in the presentation that you have, you see the association's responsibility has become more and more. And every month something else gets added. If you don't have a, just go see Ruth, because we're going to be following this outline. So this is the same presentation that I give to the presidents on the second Friday of the month. That's by invitation. This is open to everyone, whether you're an officer, unit owner, renter, just reside inside Century Village. And it's as a point of information. Hopefully, if you're not on the board, you'll get something out of this and you'll be running for the board for next year. But, all right, so we're going to start. What is UCO's mission statement? We oversee major contracts, your security contracts, transportation, roads, cable, and insurance. Why do we do that? Because in 1999, a bilateral agreement was signed by most of the associations. Once it hit 75%, I think it's very few that did not sign it back then, but we became responsible to those major contracts. UCO office, we do investigations, we do barcodes, gate passes, we notarize paperwork for the building, and we do some notary work for individuals. Some people have pensions and they require the proof that they're still alive. We will do that. Okay? We will not do transfer of property in Virginia, California, Canada, or anything like that. It is basically for the associations. Currently, we have 3 notaries on staff at all times, or most of the time, I should say. We also created a website for those of you that were around. David had a blog. Once he was no longer president, that was his private domain, so we have a website that was created by Joanne, unitedcivic.org. If you're not familiar with it, go on the computer, look it up. Most of our presentations that are on there, meetings are put on there, and also available for many years. People have been asking, I need a certificate to do an investigation for a sale or a rental. You can now go and download the application without coming into the office to pick it up. If you need a certificate to register your delegates, that's also available online. As we're going on and on, we'll be adding more things. It's not interactive. You can't fill it in online and send it back to us. You have to download it, fill it, and drop it off yourself. Okay. Paperwork is the forms that we have in the office are investigation forms for sales and rentals. And like I said, to register your delegates. Why do you want to use UCO to do your investigations? One, because you have a contract. All the associations have a contract with us, the bilateral agreement. Number 2, if we do the investigation and you have a question as to whether the association can approve or not approve an individual, you can ask for a legal opinion. And we will give you a legal opinion from an attorney to give you that if you have the ability to or not to reject an individual, and that's done at no charge to the association. If you're not happy with what our attorney, what they're telling you to do, you can always go to your attorney, which of course you're going to have to pay. But if you use our attorney and you're an officer and you use the discretion that the the way that the attorney tells you that you have the right to reject an individual, whether it's for a rental or a transfer an owner, and you get sued, there's a $5,000 deductible that you are responsible for, should you get sued under directors and officers. If that happens, we will pick up the deductible, assuming that you did exactly what the lawyer told you to do. That $5,000 we did. In 10 years, we've paid out 3 times. So our attorney is pretty on spot as to what to do. As you know, the village is divided into quadrants. You have 4 vice presidents. Patricia is one. Jerry Satowski is the other. Bruce Stutzman and Stu Richland is the other vice president. If you have a question pertaining to where you live, contact one of those vice presidents. If they are not available, ask for someone else to help you, another vice president. If we're all busy, you can always get a hold of me, or you can ask for Donald. Before I go any further, I forgot, I usually do an introduction. Everybody knows Ruth Dries, she's the editor of our UCO Reporter. Joanne is our treasurer, Patricia's our vice president, and this is Donald. Everybody knows Donald. Okay. So, as vice presidents, we can answer questions, we can help you. We cannot tell you what to do, okay? And we cannot give you legal advice. And 90% of the questions that we have, if people come into the office, you're asking for legal advice. And we will tell you, you need to contact an attorney. And every association should have an attorney on retainer, okay? Especially in today's age where everybody wants to sue everybody for everything, whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent. But you should have an attorney that you can contact and speak to. No legal advice. And trust me when I tell you, being in the office 5 days a week, 90% of the people that come in, they're asking for a legal advice. I just want to ask you a question. Can I turn this person down? No. The other thing, as if you're an officer of your building and you do an investigation, please don't say, UCO has to approve you. We do not approve anyone. We facilitate the investigation of an individual for you, and we give you back the paperwork. It is up to your board. One of the things that are coming up lately is, well, a person is a renter, and he needs a lease extension, and the first thing that the board does, well, I work, I'm tired, I'm sleeping, I have a headache, go to UCO, and they'll give you a certificate of occupancy. No, it's up to the board. If you are a board member, that's one of your jobs, to come in and make sure that we type that up for you. One of the other things, over the last couple of years, there's been talk of doing self-management. Manage your own building. You can save $2,000, $1,500 a month. Well, that's all fine, well and good, as long as you know what all about 718 and what is transpired, what your obligations are, what the procedure is for statute. So one of the things that a management company will do, annual meetings. Paperwork needs to be sent out at least 60 days in advance that you're going to have an annual meeting. There's a first mailer, there's a second mailer, and then they should be, one of the property managers, your CAM, should be attending your annual meeting to make sure that everything is done correctly. They should be helping you with your annual budgets. Now, if you have a management company, and like right now we're in budget season, and if you're a board member and you get a budget from your management company, sit down with your board members, get the financial statements that you have for like the last couple of months, especially the last month that you have available, and make sure that what you're budgeted for 2025 is in budget or not in budget. And in 2026, Patricia and I attended one yesterday. They have a hot water heater that requires gas. They budgeted $500, they spent $572 already in 2025 and the budget, they put in $500 for 2026. Now, unless you look at the numbers, what you actually budgeted for and what you actually spent, you cannot do a budget for 2026. You gotta be involved. If you're an officer, you need to be involved to work those numbers. Sure, go ahead, Donald.
All right, Pete, as soon as you said budget, my antennas went up. We're all doing our budgets right now. I'm seeing a lot of budgets, and I'm seeing that they're kind of not realistic. We're all budget conscious, obviously. This is Century Village. If you don't think in the next fiscal year, you or one of your neighbors is, for some reason or another, not going to be paying their assessments, they die, they get sick, the unit goes into probate. You're not being realistic. You need to set aside a bad debt line so that you can pay your bills regardless of whether all of your unit owners pay. And the two biggest bills you have is your UGO bill and your management bill, your Seacrest bill. You gotta have some money salted away from that. And the other one, and I think you said this already, Fausto, is you have to have a legal line. You're going to need to consult with an attorney sometime in the coming fiscal year. It would be abnormal if you didn't. I keep $5K in my budget for, and I'm a 24-unit building. I don't always use it. I usually don't use it, but you want to have that in there. Realistic budgeting. All right. Thank you. That's all I got on that. Thanks, Fausto.
Okay.
Can I
yeah.
ask a question on that?
Sure.
If you put in $5,000 for a legal line and then
Yeah.
next year you didn't use it,
Carry it over.
Pardon?
Carry it over.
So you can carry it over, you wouldn't do an additional one? That's
No, I'm not building.
So you don't build it?
I've never spent. I'm a 24-unit building. I've never spent $5,000. If I do, it's probably going to be an insurance claim. You know, it's going to subrogate.
Okay, thank you.
It just seems to work. So.
Okay, thanks.
It's up to your individual building and what your expenses are. If you've had 3 lawsuits over the last 3 years, you should be putting something away for a legal fund. Okay? Make sure that you're covered. Okay? Like I said, annual elections, they need to be posted. Papers need to be sent out to unit owners, informing them time and place of the meeting. When you have your annual elections, ballots must be returned. You should have proxies sent out. Some of us, even myself, that I've been doing this for over almost 20 years, I forget things. If you put your management company to do that, they're responsible. They will send you, if I use Seacrest to do all my mailers. When they do their mailers, they give you a certified copy of what was sent out that's notarized. So if you have a unit owner that says, well, I never got it in the mail, you will have a roster that's given out to who it was mailed to, the date it was mailed out to. At least you, as an individual officer, are covered to make sure that you've done your due diligence. Now, this is becoming more and more relevant because when House Bill 913 came in, it says as of 2025, every association must have 4 meetings a year. 2 are easy. One is your annual meeting and one is your budget meeting. But it requires 2 more meetings. Now, as long as you send a paper out and you note it, even if nobody shows up, at least you've fulfilled your obligation to the state that you've had those meetings. Now, if you make the mailer or your secretary makes the mailer, there's no proof that anybody did it. But your outside vendor, your management company, becomes responsible once they give you that sheet that says this is the date that it was mailed, and here's a list of everybody that we mailed it to.
I'm assuming Seacrest charges for that as well.
They do. It's a minimal charge, okay? As we get to more the responsibility of the officers of the building, the charge is well worth you being covered, okay? Right, there's a time limit that has to be followed. So if you miss that deadline, you are wrong. If they miss the deadline, well, my management company becomes the responsible person. Yes, ma'am?
What about when you have to have a emergency meeting? Something needs to be discussed among open up to the whole?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The only time, hold me, hands up.
Yeah, okay.
The only time that you're allowed to have a closed meeting is with your attorney to discuss a legal, there's no such a thing as a private board meeting.
But if we have a meeting and it's extra from the ones that we would have.
That's fine, you could have all the you could have a meeting every month.
Can I post it on the bulletin board? It has to be 48 hours?
I'm hearing two questions here.
Yeah, two
The
questions.
first is, can I have a closed meeting if it's an emergency? The answer is no.
Okay.
There really are only two reasons, and one that will never apply to you. One is if you're discussing an employee, and even then, minutes must be taken and have available. And the other is, what's the other one? If you're meeting with your attorney. All right, those are the two that I'm aware of. The other thing is, can we have an emergency meeting with no notice? The answer is yes, but what's an emergency? Emergency is fire, flood, or blood. So if nobody's bleeding, and if there's not smoke coming out of your building, or it's not on fire, it's not an emergency. 48 hours notice.
Hold on, John. What would you consider an emergency meeting? Why would you call an emergency meeting?
Well,
So
some of
everybody
it-
learns.
Some of it might be for, the board has to vote on something. Somebody might is asking permission, could I put this plant in?
A decision on a plant can wait 48 hours for you to notice the meeting.
So,
Unless the plant is bleeding or on fire.
no, but I just wanted to make sure we're allowed to do those and don't have to send a letter from Seacrest.
No, all you need to do is post your agenda on the bulletin board 48 hours in advance and have your meeting in a place where everybody can be. I don't recommend the unit, that's bad business. I don't like having them on the patio, I don't think it makes for a good meeting. We have a conference room for you. Call your property manager, let them reserve the conference room. It's the best place to have a meeting.
It's free.
And it's free.
Yes, John?
If you, say you want to get together with the board and discuss an issue and a concern with an owner and its tenant, does that have to be posted?
If there are three of you in any place on earth sitting in the same place and you are discussing condominium business, that needs a noticed meeting.
So the notice that goes on the bulletin, what does it have to say, you know?
This is what time, where it will be, the agenda, and your unit owners have to have the opportunity to be there. The tenant doesn't have the right to be there, but the unit owners do, including the landlord.
And your agenda can be very simple. Reference to Unit 12. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to say, Mr. Jones has a tenant, blah, 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 blah.
This, that, the other thing.
Right, no. It's as vague as it could be, but so that you can only discuss that particular topic. And right, right. And if it has to deal with a rental, the tenant should not be there. Yes,
And in addition to that, two board members could meet with the owner and not post anything because it's not a quorum, there's not.
I call that a little bit of a sneak around. I don't
Yeah.
like it as a manager.
yeah.
I have done it as a president, as an expediency, but I don't recommend it.
I just don't understand why an entire board would have to be present.
Because that's the law.
That's the law, yeah. It's.
The law, and the law is the law.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're
Yeah.
saying. What you're saying is, as a board, we could not identify two people that handled rental issues that represented us and sat down and handled those.
I don't recommend it, no. It should be done in an open meeting. What you're describing, well, we'll have two people talk about it, and then one of those people will talk to another one. I mean, you're basically describing the mafia, how they do business.
No, actually,
Have meetings, and look, you know how many people show up at the meetings. It's not like is it sometimes onerous to have people here, cutting in and doing this? Yeah, of course it is, but that's just the way you dealing with other people's money. Do it out in the open. That's the best advice I can give you.
We just had, excuse me, ma'am, we just had a recent incident that happened without discussing where a president, with all good things, decided to have a meeting in her apartment. And there was a fist fight in the apartment, the police had to be called. That's why we don't recommend you having anything in your apartment.
It was you just don't remember.
Okay? If you, our conference room, we make that available, use your property manager to call up Erica, and we'll book it for you, and you can have it there, you can have people that can zoom in, you can have people sit down after hours, after our office hours. We've done, that's your house. But as far as, I know that, well, it's only involves private meeting. It's not a private meeting. Anything to discuss business of the association is everybody's business, unless you're talking with your attorney.
All right, look, summer comes. I got one board member in Quebec. I got another one in England. One's in Staten Island. Do I use emails to make decisions? Hey guys, we've got this application. I recommend yes. But then I ratify it at the next meeting. I mean, nobody's going to condo jail over this. You have to make some, judgment calls just to do your business. But you could always ratify things you do at the next meeting. Get it on the books.
Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, with regard to the 4 meetings per year?
Yes.
I'm not a board member.
Okay.
Does that apply to all associations, regardless of society?
If you are a condo association under 718 or 720, or if you're an HOA or a COA like we are, state mandates 4 meetings a year. That's a must. Okay? Is it hard to do? Absolutely. I'm in a 56-unit building. I did 2 meetings during the summer. I had 7 people there. And I have a board of 7, and not even all my board members were there. But I had to do it because the state says I gotta do it. If nobody shows up, that's not my problem. At least I did it, I booked it, and it's on the books. Yes,
So if nobody shows up, it's still considered they had a meeting?
still counts as a meeting.
And you don't have to have an agenda. You could just have general discussion and if nobody shows up, you document that you've had the meeting, move on, see you next quarter.
That's it.
15 minutes, it's over.
That's it. All right. So, yes,
What about a budget meeting now?
yeah,
That has to be in the conference room also, the budget meeting?
it doesn't have to be.
We recommend it.
We recommend, if you're going to, if you want to get people involved that can't be here, they're not in Florida or they're out of state, book the conference room. You can discuss it in the conference room.
And it has to go through Seacrest or?
Yes, we want you to go to your property manager. Your property manager will work with our admin assistant and work the schedule so that there's no tie-ups.
Right. If you're a Seacrest building.
We also require your manager to be at the meeting. That's a UCO thing. If you want to record it, we can do that for you. You want Zoom, that's there. Teleconference is there.
Right,
Right, exactly, you have to record it. You need copies while you're there. You need to scan something out. We can help you with that. So it's an office. So to me, that's the best place to have your meeting. And if you do it once, you'll keep doing it. Try us, you'll like us.
But we don't keep copies of any of those meetings. You get it.
right.
You get it on a little.
You now have to, if you have a Zoom meeting pertaining to condo business, you now have to keep a copy of that. We will record it, you will sign a paper that we gave you the USB drive with everything that you discussed, and that's your responsibility to keep that now. Okay?
But not all meetings have to be recorded.
Not all meetings,
I mean, we do record it so that you.
only if you're using Zoom.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, John?
It's not mandatory to have Zoom, right?
No.
But if you do, these are the rules. You have to record it.
Right.
You have to keep the recording as a record of the company.
Your job is gonna get much harder if you're on the board. All right, after you hold annual elections, you need to file on Sunbiz, okay? Your management company, if you use Seacrest or Pruitt, whoever you do, does that filing for you afterwards. The delegates form, which is what you have to give to UCO, is different than what is used for Sunbiz. The people might be the same, but if you're going to vote or you're going to attend our delegate assembly and you want to be represented, you must fill in that form that's now available on UnitedCivic.org or at the front desk. And it'll list president. The president is automatically your delegate. Anybody else that's listed on that board must be also listed as an alternate delegate. Just because you list them, vice president, secretary, treasurer, unless there's a front and a back to the page, and it says alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3. If you do not put those people on that sheet, they're not going to be able to vote to represent your association. And we try to tell people that, especially when you come in, we'll state stamp it for you, because we have associations that haven't updated it in a couple of years. And then they say, well, I don't know. Well, we know what day you dropped it off. When you bring it to the front desk, the girl stamps it right then and there. Okay. Yes,
What was this thing we had to do this summer, and file it with the,
DBPR.
yeah.
Yes.
I did that, but I don't know if it came through right. So now I'm supposed to put the meetings in there and stuff? The Seacrest doesn't do that for us anymore? or-
You registered with DBPR an account for your building. You're
Yes,
supposed to do that.
yes, I did.
Okay. So I believe that you, I'm sorry? That's all you really have to do.
But who still sends in the stuff about our meetings then? The proof that we had annual meetings, that doesn't, or the.
You don't have to send it to anybody.
Keep it in your records.
That's gotta be kept in your records. My understanding is that DBPR filing is so they know if they have questions, who to come back and ask the questions of. So,
Okay, and Seacrest will still send in the Sunbiz thing?
Yeah, Seacrest will send in, I know Pruitt does, that's part of their management job. So that's, listing with Sunbiz is your manager's job.
I
And
thought
that,
we
and that
were gonna have to do
DBPR,
it.
that new filing, Seacrest will, or Vesper, whoever, will do that for you if you ask them. Because I had trouble with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a terrible time.
Yes, yes,
If an association has to update Sunbit, do they do that on their own? They still have to go through Seacrest?
They can,
they can.
but why? Well, you pay somebody to do that for you.
But is there still a charge going through Seacrest?
Yeah, well, they have to pay.
$62.50 every time you do an update.
So, pertaining to that, if you have an officer that lives in your building that either dies or moves away, you have to now update your Sunbiz records, and you also have to come into the office and update your delegates forms, so we know who the contact person is. I believe the filing fee is $35 with the state. So, just because, and we see this all the time, well, I sold my apartment 2 years ago, I don't live in Century Village anymore, and nobody was ever notified, but you're still on Sunbiz. If the association does something wrong and your name is still on there, you're still responsible.
You're on the hook.
You're on the hook, because you're an officer of a Florida corporation. So make sure that that gets done. Okay. Other reason, you have a problem in your building. You have a bad landlord. You have a bad tenant. Your management company should be sending the first letter of violation to the individual. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, ma'am.
So, my question is, we did have the management company send a violation letter,
Right.
but I don't know what happened to it.
Well, was the matter resolved?
No,
Okay, so then the next letter was from your attorney,
okay.
okay?
Are you,
Should be.
Even
are
if
you
we don't
asking
know what
if,
happened in the first letter?
are you asking if it was received by the violator? Because it should have been sent, certified
They
mail.
were sent certified, and one was to the owner, the daughter who doesn't live there.
Right.
The owner, and her father who does live there. Supposedly, I don't know if they sent it to both places. I didn't get any
They should
verification
have.
that it was sent.
And we'll check with Shauna and say, did you get the receipt back? If the answer is no, chances are they never accepted the delivery, and you're going to the lawyer.
And how do I get a hold of Shauna? I mean, I tried calling the number, but there's no.
See me later, I'll help you with that.
Yes, John? Go ahead.
I know in my case, we send out violation letters. Violation letters, they have 30 days to respond.
Right.
Most of them do, some don't accept it and it gets lost. And once they, Seacrest receives that response within 30 days, they'll send you a copy. I mean, that's my case.
But if they don't receive it back, then I guess I don't hear anything.
Well, no, you should be notified that they should give you the letter back saying that it was undeliverable. You should have a record of it. And then your next phone call is to your attorney. Because you need that to show that we tried to contact this individual and they're not accepting our registered letters.
They should be, you should send two, I just looked at the post office, I'm retired.
Okay,
You should send a regular letter addressed to the person.
right.
And a certified letter with a return receipt. If that does not get picked up, it's returned to the sender.
Right.
And so you can keep it for your
Right.
record, and it should be stamped, attempted delivery on such and such a date.
But you get your first letters from your management company, your second letters from your attorney.
So am I understanding that the management company would send a regular mail letter and a certified letter?
In most cases, I know they send a certified letter.
He said he sent a certified letter, but then.
And they should give you a receipt that it was sent out. They should bring it back to you. How long ago did you do it?
Well, it was sent in October, probably the middle of October supposedly, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It was
would,
supposed to be
is Shauna your cam, or is it some Matthew or someone else?
Matthew.
Matthew.
I think he's away on vacation this week.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah, if you can't get them on the phone, you should email them. This way you have a record that you're requesting them to give you an update on what's going on.
Okay.
All right? All right. Why do you need an attorney? As my friend Danielle said before, for legal advice, number one. Number two, you need to update your governing documents. Over the years, the last 15 years, I've heard of hundreds of associations that have updated their bylaws. But they never updated their governing documents. What does that mean? Well, the building decides. The most common ones are, we're now a non-rental building. And you put in your bylaws and all your unit owners vote on it. And 5 years ago, you became a non-rental building. Now, 5 years later, a realtor comes in and says, well, I checked your governing documents and it doesn't say that. You're a non-rental building. That's why your attorney that you hire to update your bylaws has to change your declaration and your governing documents and your bylaws all have to say the same thing. The next one is pets. Dogs are allowed. They changed the bylaws. We can now have your governing documents say no pets. Guess what? You're a non-pet friendly building. They all have to say the same thing. So it's very important that you use an attorney and follow through that whatever changes. When I moved into my building, the president made 22 amendments to their bylaws. And all they did was go to the county clerk. They didn't do anything else other than go there. So all those amendments that she did on her own are absolutely worthless. Yes?
Should every unit owner have a bylaw?
Absolutely.
Okay, I got a new one from the lawyer, because I asked for it. Now, what do I do? I get that many more from the
We're
lawyer?
gonna get to that.
Or go to the copy machine
We're
and stay there all day?
gonna get to that.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Because House Bill 913, I know you all read it and you all believe in it. And by the time you leave here, you're gonna hate House Bill 913. Okay?
I'll Google it.
Okay, yeah, do that, all right? But the most important thing is to update your governing, besides giving you legal advice, it's to make sure that in today's world, what you're telling an individual, don't go by just your bylaws. You have to check all three documents. And the declaration of condominiums is the top of the list, articles of incorporation, and the bylaws. That's the scale.
It's all in,
It's-
it's like,
The bylaws are down here, everything else is above it. If any one of those two do not match what's on there, they have the right. They oversee, they top out your bylaws. your by, and,
It's okay, it's this thick.
it,
But what do how do I just call the lawyer and say, give me
that's the
15
best thing
number?
to do. Contact your attorney and have him review your articles.
No, I already got the new one just a couple of weeks ago.
You got your bylaws,
Yeah.
okay.
All the, when
So-
the building was built and the
so-
whole.
So now you gotta ask him to review the governing documents and your bylaws to make sure that they all say the same thing.
But it's all the brand new ones, he did it. He did all the new bylaws, because I asked him to
He did,
update all the
again,
bylaws.
you keep talking about bylaws, I'm trying to tell you,
Oh,
the bylaws is down here. The articles of incorporation
yeah,
and
it's all in there
condominium.
too, he did all
If
that.
he did all of them, then you don't have
Yeah.
anything to worry about. If he updated all three,
Was it
then you're
voted
good
on?
to
Yeah,
go.
they were all,
Okay,
yeah,
now you had
all
you had a
together.
unit vote and the bylaws were passed by every unit owner.
they were prior to me. But
The previous board did
the
that.
previous board did that,
Okay,
but nothing has been done with the previous board for a very long time, but.
again, just to be on the safe side, I would take all three documents, give them to an attorney and let him review and make sure, one, that they were filed correctly and that all three say the same thing. Since you're the new board. Yes, John?
Once we update the bylaws to, and the other things to the attorney,
Right.
the attorney file the new copy with the county?
Yes. And with the state, and they become a record.
And how can you find out if they've been, if that's been done?
Your attorney. And then you should, if you're trying to find out if they were voted on, usually when they make an amendment to your bylaws, a letter is sent out voting on the amendments or your new bylaws to every single unit owner. And those are returned back to the association on either approving or not approving the bylaw changes. That's part of last year's board or 2 years ago, whenever they did that. Now, usually the attorney does that mailer for you, so he should have a record of it if you made bylaw changes and if it was requested that the association vote on it. All right.
What are the three documents again? Government
Cut.
documents,
The
bylaws?
articles of incorporation, the declaration of condominium, and the bylaws. Those are the three documents. And then the last item is your rules and regulations. All right. So normally Eva's at this meeting, and she talks about WPRF and what WPRF does. WPRF, you know, manages our rec facility. They are in charge of your Century Village IDs and various other functions at the clubhouse. I wish she was here because she has got a little presentation. But does anybody have any questions as to what WPRF does? Yes, ma'am.
It's only a question, on what criteria they figure out how much the unit owners have to pay? The ones, there are two different or three different payments.
Right, so what you're describing is the apportionment letter. Your property manager creates the apportionments, and in some, depending on what the thing is, it goes by. Some things are the same amount for each unit, but most of them are proportional based on the square footage of the apartment.
Oh,
Actually, it's 1.5, 2. They take care of that for you. At the UCO end, when you approve our budget, our accountant sends the board an apportionment letter, letting them know what their quarterly assessment amount is going to be.
Thank you.
WPRF does their own. Right, they have a little different equation than we do. Okay. Seacrest, that number is very important. I know that most people have a different number, but the president, Steve, whatever his last name, came here a few months ago and said that 888-828-6464 number that's in there if you have a problem with Seacrest pertaining to payments or something that you're not happy with, there's supposed to be someone there, an actual body, to answer that phone most
Can you
times.
say the number again?
Sure, it's in the sheet that you got.
It's on the paper.
It's right there, 888
Oh,
828-6464.
thank you.
If you have a problem, that you call that number and you do not get a response within 24 hours, we need you to send an email to Donald, yukomaintenance@gmail.com, and say, Donald, I have a problem, I used that magic number, and nobody's gotten back to me. Because we're keeping track, they told us this was the magic number. It's so far, everybody that's called that number has been responded to. Yes?
Now, what kind of issues would that be that you call them for?
I don't know, anything, financials, they didn't come and cut the grass, my sprinkler system, anything pertaining to Seacrest management.
I have that tattooed on my arm.
Okay, well, write it on your hand. All right, so, also, WPRF, if you are a board member and you have someone that's in the rears, you should be sending out letters, number one. Number two, if it is over 90 days, you should be going to your attorney. And you can, the WPRF has a program called the Asset Recovery Program. That's where they will help you to foreclose on an apartment with a couple of caveats. One, they must owe WPRF money. Number two, there can be no mortgages, no reverse mortgage on the property. As soon as they see that, they walk away. And I did an asset recovery program foreclosure, took 15 months. The last one I did with a lawyer took 7 years. Okay? You want to stay, if you're an officer, you want to stay on top of that, because in most cases, we hear horror stories. The apartment hasn't made any payments in 5 years. If you're lucky, if you're going to get 12 months back. And that goes back to the bad debt line. If you're not staying on top of people not making their monthly payments, you're charging everybody in the building a free interest loan. That's what it basically comes down to.
So,
Yes.
so if you have a lien on that, does
Then you
that-
gotta get an attorney.
I did, and I went through the attorney and put a lien on it.
Right,
So,
Every year, you have to renew the lien.
right.
You call Scott, you remind him. Scott's supposed to remind you, but
I will
but
do
you have to
that.
give yourself a reminder every year, or it'll expire.
Well, we were gonna put it in foreclosure, but
You don't have a choice.
I
You
know.
have to put it in foreclosure.
Right.
You're an association officer, you can only collect the money or foreclose. You
Right.
can't make payment, you can't make payment plans, you can't do any of that. You're lending money out at that point.
yeah, I know, I got that part.
Yes, ma'am, and then, good,
So, okay, if one of the owners is in arrears.
yes,
30, 60, 90 days,
right.
isn't Seacrest management
Yes.
sending out a notice
Yes.
to them that you?
They will, yeah, you have to let them know to send that letter out. They're not gonna do it on their own.
Or make sure they do it.
Make sure that they do it. You call them up, you get your monthly statement, and you see that you have a unit owner that's 2 months in arrears. First call is to them to send out a notice that they're late payment. They're gonna get 30 days to pay. If they don't pay, in the next statement, they're 90 days in arrears, next call is to your attorney.
So, okay. so
You should be
one-
doing something every month. 30 days late, letter from the management company. 60 days late, letter from the lawyer. 90 days late, second letter from the lawyer, place the lien. 120, start foreclosure. You have to do it the same way every time, otherwise it's a selective enforcement trap. Always the same procedure.
So so I didn't find out until October that they were in arrears for the third month.
Well,
Okay.
we all had that problem
Yeah.
because Seacrest, with the Seacrest problem with their
The
account.
Vantica, yeah.
They seem to be caught up now. I just got my October financials yesterday.
Yeah, I
That's
was
okay.
looking for mine, so, but, okay. So this one condo has been like, as far as I know, they're 3 months behind, maybe this is the fourth month. I don't know, but we never, I didn't know that we had to initiate the letter to be sent out by Seacrest. I thought they would automatically, when they see it.
I wouldn't trust that.
Right, I would not assume that.
No.
It's something that you're gonna have to do, sorry, Don.
That's okay. You see your financials when they, first, I don't even read the financials, I go to the bottom, I wanna see the delinquency list.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, okay.
If for no other reason, to make sure I'm not on it or my mother's not on it.
Yeah.
But then, you know,
So if it's already been 3 months,
Yeah.
if we start with the first letter, you agree 30.
Yeah, send a letter out,
send a
yeah.
letter out.
Send it out now.
Yes, ma'am.
You were talking about delinquent on WPRF.
Yes.
I've never gotten any type of a, how did we get that?
You never will.
You never will.
That's a contract between the individual unit owner
Yeah, because
and the, yeah.
I
It-
checked on one before and Mary said I can't give that.
You're not
out.
entitled to that information.
Right, if you're an officer, you have two choices. You can either contact Eva Richesky or Monica Wells and say, look, we have a unit, they're 2 months, 3 months in arrears, I want to start a foreclosure procedure. They will check on it. It's a 50-50 shot that if they owe WPRF money, Monica will get in touch with you and they'll come to an agreement, a contract that you sign, and they'll take it from there. Unless there's a mortgage, then they're not going to do that. Okay?
Why wouldn't they do
Or
it?
home equity loan, I'm sorry?
Why wouldn't they do it if there's a mortgage?
Well, first of all, there's not supposed to be a mortgage. And most people don't, when Mr. Levy put this place together, they have first rights to that apartment. So most mortgage companies are given mortgages and they don't even realize that
They're not first in line.
they're not first in line to get paid. The first in line is going to be the WPRF. Okay? And I know they've been giving mortgages out and reverse mortgages and that stuff, and it creates a hassle for them and for everybody else. And in most cases, WPRF feels it's too involved for us, it's too messy for us. Okay?
And also, did you say, once it went into foreclosure, it took 7 years?
Took 7 years, yes. Okay, and what Donald was saying, most people don't know, and this is why we do this. Once you start a foreclosure, you have a fee of $1,200 or $1,500 that has to be perpetuated every year. So if you don't do that, you go to 13th month, forget about it, you gotta start all over again. You gotta start all over again. So that's why you need an attorney to stay on top of it, and then you need to stay on top of the attorney. I happened to find out when I first went through this, that the previous president started a foreclosure. Well, he was no longer president. He never told anybody on the board that there was a foreclosure, other than we found paperwork that said there's a foreclosure. Well, 15 months had gone by, I called the attorney, and the attorney says, well, we never followed through because we didn't hear from you. So I had to start all over again.
3 months and then start.
And I had to start all over again, and it took 6 years before we actually were able to foreclose on the unit. Now, you had your hand up too?
Yeah, well, we had a couple of those, but what happened was they never had a mortgage until later on, and their son or whoever arranged for them to have mortgages, which we didn't know about.
Right.
So,
Well, there's a lot of people that are doing that. That's why the boards have to stay on top. The other thing, that this is a new thing that came out now, that once you start this foreclosure procedure, whether it's with yourself or with WPRF, the unit owner goes bankrupt, files for bankruptcy, and guess what? Now you're stuck. Now you're stuck. That's the legal system. He's going for bankruptcy. You can't do anything. Can't throw him out. You can't do anything. Everything ceases to exist until this bankruptcy thing, which could take years.
And there's people who just do
And
that.
those people they're not going to be paying their bills. That's why we're saying, make sure you have a bad debt line, because all it takes is one individual. It might take 3 years before you get anything out of it, if you get anything at all. So you can't just sit back, you gotta, if you, yes, ma'am?
Is there a recommended amount for say a 56 unit building to have a bad deadline? Like how much should we plan?
Our treasurer, Joanne, who's sitting right there, recommends 1/4 of UCO assessments,
Okay.
just as a guideline. Plus, we like getting paid. And her particular, she likes to have a clean, she likes to have a clean sheet.
Okay. So, yes, ma'am?
When, if they're trying to get a second mortgage or a mortgage after, you know, they paid cash for their unit 5 years later, they wanna borrow against it. I thought the banks had to notify, don't they need to check the records with Seacrest and WPRF to make sure they're up to date, like when there's a closing?
Not really, but what the lending institutions now, they send you a form to fill out, they want the association to fill in a
It's
form.
called a condo questionnaire.
Right.
If one comes your way, don't fill it out.
Right.
Give it to your accountant or give it to your attorney to fill out.
And check your bylaws, because like in some buildings, the association's bylaws would say no mortgages.
I think ours says that when they're buying, they can get one, I think, I'll double check.
I don't-
The rest,
Your
there's no
document,
second.
your documents say that, your documents, because they're identical to mine, say that all that's in there is that if you use a non-institutional lender, somebody other than the bank, like Household Finance or private, the down payment has to be 25%. Other than that, there's no restriction.
But I've seen some bylaws that say no
No,
mortgages.
yeah.
There's some bylaws say no, right, so.
And is that binding if it's in the bylaws and the other?
Well, then your building has to enforce it. You have to, because there's gonna be the person that's gonna say, well, I don't care, I wanna put a mortgage on the property. That's why they pay cash, and then what they do is they put, somewhere down the line, they put an equity loan and they put a mortgage on it after the fact when they actually own it. Okay? But most of the lending institutions now send that letter to the officers of the building saying, we want to know about this, that, they want a whole bunch of rule, you know, they want to know the finances of the building and et cetera, et cetera. So, but there's a lot of sneaky things going on, and you just have to stay on top of it. And just, more and more.
It almost seems like even if you're on top of it, you're.
Exactly. And I know exactly how you feel, because somewhere along the line, I had a unit owner in my building that turned it into a legacy trust. Okay? It's called a legacy trust. According to 2 attorneys in Florida, it's not valid in the state of Florida, but this guy did it because he's from New York. And what that does, it turns the unit over to his great-grandchildren, basically, which may or may not exist. Okay?
What about a later trust?
Huh?
Second trust?
Yes, but it's to someone, a trust is usually to somebody, to the Mary Jones Trust, to someone.
Even if it's in New York,
This is a New York thing, it's called the Legacy Trust, and it's for children, grandchildren that may not be born yet. Okay, but they get to use that unit until as long as they live, okay? And God forbid, if they decide not to make payments, if you look it up, the IRS says it's a way of defrauding the IRS out of money. That's the way that they see it.
why put, like, New York wills don't count here in
Sure they do.
Florida?
Well, sir, well, in this particular case, this has been going on in my building
I
for,
hope they do.
No,
yeah.
New York wills do count here in Florida?
I hope so.
A will, yeah.
A will is a will.
Yeah, but this is called, this legacy trust was something that was derived in New York. And I've checked with 2 attorneys. One attorney that a lot of us use here didn't even know what it was. And 3 years later, he still didn't know what it was. So I went and I looked it up, and the IRS said it's a way of defrauding money. I changed attorneys, and she said technically, the legacy trust is not a legitimate thing for Florida. So would it hold up in court or whatever, I don't know, and I'm not willing to try it out.
No.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I have ladybirds, when I pick the bucket. it
That's,
goes-
that's different. That's totally legit.
Okay, because it goes to my kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Lady Bird, you still own it
Right.
until
Okay.
till you pass away.
It goes right in
Okay.
there. No.
Well, yeah, but this was all done after the people bought the apartment. And we have a lot of this going on where, you know, go ahead.
However, I want to tell you, I have a Lady Bird deed. I didn't put my daughter on the deed because she has a business. If anything goes wrong, I don't want to be in the street. But she will, whoever your children take over the unit, they will have to be investigated. They do own the property as soon as you pass away, but they still have to follow the rules of the building.
And if there's more than, like my two boys, one will be designated as a voter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The other
yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
assuming your association uses voting certificates.
So
Okay.
something in trust in New York, right? In trust in New York, trust is, that's my property, it goes to my children, this property here would go in trust also?
Yes.
Down here? 'Cause they-
If it's listed on there, sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, trust's okay, it's the legacy that's a problem.
So, all right, so now we know what WPRF does, what you do. Now we're coming to the responsibility of the boards. And like I said, when I started this 18, 19 months ago, there was 5 lines on there. I'm running out of paper, okay? You need to have a board of directors. You need to hold annual meetings. You need to have 4 meetings a year. You need to maintain your building. You need to be working with your management company. So if you're self-managed and you don't know what to do and you don't know who to talk to, if you don't have a management company, you have nobody to talk to. And if you're in doubt, you can talk to any one of the vice presidents, your management company, or see one of us and we'll try to help you. Proper paperwork that needs to be filed for sales, rentals, need to be presented to UCO for investigation by a board member, not a realtor, not a buyer, not a renter. I'm waiting for somebody to come with Uber. And trust me, I have actually had people write a note. I don't feel like coming to the office, so I'm giving my neighbor Jimmy the paperwork to deliver on my behalf. That's not going to fly. If you're not a board, when you come in, we check and make sure on our records that you are a board member. And if you're not listed on there, you're not going to be able to do the paperwork. Okay? It's coming in more and more now, certificates of occupancy. If you have a renter, as a board member, you should be requesting that at least 30 days before their expire, that you get a new copy of the lease. If you are a occupant, so that means you're not on a lease, you're not on the deed, you're staying with a significant other or you're helping your parents out, whatever it is, it's your responsibility to go to the board at least 30 days before your ID expires. And at that point, there's a form that the unit owner fills out, the board approves it, and then comes to the UCO office, and we will type up a certificate of occupancy for you. Okay? You cannot send the renter, the occupant down here. They're not going to get an ID. And we have been working with WPRF. If we do not generate that certificate, that individual is not going to get an ID. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on occupant, the form that the owner would fill out.
Yes.
Is this, they take it filled out to UCO?
No.
And they type it out?
No, the way this works is, the first one you're describing is the request for occupancy form. This is the form where the owner of the unit is asking the board for permission for another person to live in the unit with them. That's for you to sign, put your seal, to 2 board members, put your seal on it. You bring that, not anybody else. Board member brings it to UCO. We type up a certificate of approval for you. We put our seal on it. And then you and your other board members sign it, put your seal on it, and give it to the to the person. And then that person will take that certificate of approval to the ID office and get their ID cards. Once they have an ID card, they can come to Yuko and then put a barcode on the car.
Now, if it's just
There you go.
an extension of occupancy,
Same thing.
Same thing. It's just it's a checkbox.
This is, if you're an occupant, that means you're not on the lease and you're not on the deed,
right?
okay? This is what the form looks like, very simple. It gets where the owner says, Mrs. Jones is gonna be living in my apartment from this date to this date, okay? Can't be more than a year. And then the owner signs it, 2 board members sign it, put a seal on it. An officer brings this to the office, we type up a certificate for you, okay? We put our seal, you bring it back to the board, signs it, seals it, and you give it to the person, and they can get an ID.
We need this as a qualifying document that stands in for the place of, which most of them are, either a lease or a contract for sale. So if it's not one of the other, it'll be that.
I just happen to have one because we're doing one today for.
And that's called the request for occupancy
Yes,
form?
yep. Yes, John.
How come occupancy, people that fill out that form don't get investigated?
They should be investigated. They should, we recommend that they do, but in some cases, it's up to the board.
What we're doing now, John, is when the boards come in with this certificate with this request for approval, we're going back and checking to see if that occupant has been investigated, because we keep records of every investigation we did. If they haven't been, we want them to be investigated. Can we force the board to have them investigated at this point? No, we can't. But we're just trying to live up to the contract that exists between Yuko and your association. All residents must be screened. So we are tightening up on that, because there has been instances of undesirable people moving in, and it turns out they haven't been screened. Well, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that the developer had the right of first refusal.
No, that's not what he asked.
Not the developer.
Well, I believe he had to put in the WPRF.
There are 2 things that I think answer your question. The first is WPRF has first lien rights in case of default.
Right.
The second thing that, based on what you said, is right of first refusal. There is something in your documents that says WPRF can have approval over any amendments to your documents. In 60 years, I've only known that right to be invoked once, and that was in the case of Sheffield O. But there's 2 things there where, yes, they have a say in what you do.
The right of first refusal is for a property to change, and that's only by the board.
Yeah.
If building B, Sheffield B, whatever, decides that they want to sell a unit, and the right of first refusal is for the board to purchase that apartment, not to a board member, not to another individual.
They can transfer that to
They can subrogate, yes. Every attorney that I speak to that handles Century Village advises you going anywhere near that. It's a discrimination minefield. Think of the reason why those first refusal language were put into your documents back in the 60s. And you'll figure it out, I don't have to tell you. It's a bad idea.
Yes, John?
If the board decides to purchase that unit,
Yeah.
do they need a vote from the members, or just the board makes that decision?
Well, I don't know.
That's a good
That's a
question.
good question, John.
I don't know, that's an attorney question.
I never heard that.
No,
Yeah.
That becomes a legal question, because I would think that since you're going to be using unit owners' money to do that, I think you would need a vote of the owners.
So if you don't have enough cash in your reserves, then you would have to take a loan out to purchase that unit.
Or a special assessment.
Or a special assessment.
You can use it.
John, when you find out the answer to that question,
Yeah.
let us know. We'd like to know.
Yeah.
and I thought individuals in that association had a right to first refusal.
No. Everybody thinks the same thing. The right of first refusal, it is only for the entire board to purchase that unit. Not for a board, not for the president, vice president, or any other unit owner. It is for the entire board to purchase that.
You say board, but you actually a member.
Well, in your particular case, it would be Canterbury F would be the purchaser of that specific unit.
Be 26 owners.
Right, yes,
So the money, say the condominium buys it,
right.
the money that the condominium receives from renting it or resale
Right.
goes back into our coffers.
All back to the association.
So if we kept it and rented it, that
It-
goes into our coffers,
If
right?
it does, yeah.
Great, perfect.
If you're allowed to rent in your building,
Well,
okay?
yes, we are.
Marilyn, if your lawyer advises you that that's a good idea to use, I'd be very, very surprised, especially your lawyer.
Well,
Once
we
again-
got one and it's been running through my head to do that.
Just be careful.
Just,
Oh,
yes, sir.
But those have to be under, when the unit's under contract. There's no legal requirement to post it.
Not anymore.
No.
We don't advise, in the older days, remember you used to put it up on the board?
Right,
We don't advise you to do that.
Yeah, 'cause when I bought, I
Right.
was told any member in the association could buy it for the
Yes.
price that I was buying.
That was the thinking
Yeah.
in my association when I bought my unit. Actually, my parents bought it. And we don't.
Okay, so I've been posting it and telling everybody.
well, there's nothing wrong with posting.
Posting it.
Nothing wrong with
Actually letting
posting.
your membership know what it is. We just don't do it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, just, since I've been in Century Village, 4.5 years, we've only had one unit owner that was for sale, but they did post it on the bulletin board for us,
Right.
as the board.
Yeah.
Nobody else has ever done it or offered it to us or anything.
Okay, the next one. All board members need to be certified. If you are a board member, you now are required to take a 4-hour course, first time, and then every year after, for at least the next 5 years, you need to take a 1-hour update course. Yes,
And what if the other board members refuse to do so?
after 90 days, they're no longer board members.
And
They're
then what
done.
happens when you run out of board members and have absolutely
Then-
nobody except yourself?
You, the last person on the board who is certified, appoints a new board.
Right,
That's me.
yeah,
You appoint a new board.
I did the 4-hour.
okay. Did you
Now
do
I
the
have
1-hour
one.
update this year? Did you do the first hour, the 4-hour this year or last year?
I did of this year the 4-hour
Okay.
in April.
Okay, yeah.
So I
So
know I
by-
have like
So
January or whatever.
after April of 2026, you need to do the 1-hour
No,
update.
yeah, before the election, so I
So
know.
how many of your board members are automatically off the board because they refuse to take the course?
Two.
Get a hold of your property manager. You need to appoint new people. First, let's make sure that you.
Well, I had 3 that were board certified. Now there's only 2 of us. The one sold and she
All right.
wants to buy
So
another
you-
unit there that the guy's in foreclosure with anyway, which I'm trying to work that one out, so.
Get
She
with
moved back
Shauna.
in because she was a great VP.
Get with Shauna. Make sure that the people off the board are
Off the board.
supposed to be off the board, and then fill your board. That's
And they don't listen to
responsibility.
me at all, they're just all nasty. I tell them you can't take up 2 guest spots.
Well, that's,
And they're just
Barry
like,
House,
they're just-
we don't
yeah, yeah, we don't, that's your problem.
Yeah, well, I just
Okay.
avoid them and
But-
I'm told.
Certification classes are given, they do come 2 or 3 times a year downtown. If you do go to the convention center, do go.
I
There.
did here.
Okay.
I did
Yeah,
before.
well, I know that some people have done them online. I know that some attorneys, I think it was Friedman came and did them over here. I know that Donald asked if he was going to be doing them
I don't think
again.
he is.
I don't think he's going to. He said 4 hours of class is too much for him.
What about the 1-hour class?
The 1-hour class is available. There are certain law firms that are giving it. If you went in October, if you went to the 4-hour class that Eric gives. The last 45 minutes of that class gave you the legal updates, basically for House Bill 913, and that qualifies as your hourly update to your 4-hour class.
The easiest way to fulfill this requirement is to very simply go to the Becker website, click on classes, take the 4-hour class, take your 1-hour update. If you're a Becker client, it's free. If you're not, it's $25, and then you can get reimbursed by your association for that cost. It's just the easiest way.
Right. If you can't go in person. Yes, yes,
How many days? You're not a board member after?
90 days. 90 days. Yes, ma'am.
On the Becker website now, if you're not a board member, they charge you $25.
$25.
Yes, yeah.
If your board is not a Becker client, just take the class, pay the $25, and then ask your board for reimbursement. That's
That's if you're a board member.
if you're a board member, yeah.
That's right.
If you're not, then
There's
you're on your
about
own.
4 other better attorneys, they're all free. Campbell Company,
Yeah, we don't get into better or not when it comes to
Right.
attorneys.
Right.
they don't
The
charge
important-
anything.
There are certain attorneys that are qualified to give that course,
Right.
and some that are not. Yes,
The state did it here and it was free.
yes.
I do have an email out to see if they'll come back. They're kind of not getting back to me. I'm not sure if they have the funding
I mean,
this year.
it was no big deal, you just take a break and this and that. I mean, it's not like you gotta sit there for 4 hours straight.
We do the best we can to get them in here, but I don't think we're going to this year, to be honest with you.
Wow.
We've reached out to them. Donald has spoken to Becker, and he's also spoken to DBPR to have him coming back.
I mean, that wasn't that horrible.
And Marilyn, I just thought about what you said, that you don't have a full board right now. Please, all of you, keep this in mind. There's only 2 reasons why a receiver would be assigned to take over your association. And one of them is failing to have a full board.
Well, we
So-
only need 3 anyway because we're so small.
It goes by, the 3 is the statutory minimum,
Correct. So I know
but if your documents say 5, you must have 5. If it says 7, you must have 7. And you have to fill the board one way or the other.
Well, there's an exception to the rule because
I don't know about exceptions. When there's exceptions, I go to my lawyer.
I did.
We're gonna
and
finish,
he
let me
said that.
finish my presentation, and then we're gonna use the last half hour to talk. This lady had her hand up.
Yeah, when's the 1-hour course, the next one? We don't know yet?
We're not, it's available if you're a Becker client, you can go on their website and do it online.
Or you can go there and pay if you're not.
Sure. Okay.
Other attorney's offices.
It is up to the associations to have delegates to come to delegate assembly the first Friday of every month. Okay, and whoever comes should be picking, we give you a package, and included in that package is a lot of information. And we're finding out that whoever comes doesn't even look at the package, or if they look at it, they don't know what they're doing. But if you are an officer and you send an alternate delegate, make sure he picks up an extra package and gives it to you to read. We're fine every month. This particular month, with the very last page in the package was the schedule to meet with Assured Partners to get your sheets for your insurance. We gave the 3 dates. Well, we're getting 10 phone calls a day. When are we meeting? When are the dates for the sheets for the insurance? It's in the paper, it's on the TV, it was listed in the package. That means that people are not reading the package. If you need an extra package, we have some, they're in the lobby at the Yuko, come and get them. The financials are on there. Everything that we try to do, we try to give you as much information out as possible, okay? So, it's very important that you have delegates. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, and I want to thank the 2 of you and everybody on UCO. In the UCO paper, you're educating what's new and what's needed and necessary with the new laws.
Well, we're trying.
You are, and it's wonderful. But even with the delegates, what do we do when our delegates don't even show up at your meetings, period? I look at,
That's why you should have alternate delegates. You missed that part of the meeting. When you fill in your sheet for delegates, There's alternate delegates. If the president is automatic, everybody else has to be listed as an alternate delegate.
They don't do anything.
Sally, if you want to be an alternate delegate, send a letter to your board and request that you be appointed an alternate delegate. And they'll either say yes or no.
You don't have to be a board member. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be a board member to,
Yeah, no, I
But-
understand.
Or they'll ignore you, which might happen.
I mean, this is why we're doing these things, because
No,
we
it's
want to,
wonderful.
try to educate not only the officers that are here, but maybe you might get a little interested and you get more interested and go on your board. Yes, ma'am. You have
I
your hand up.
volunteer, they're afraid.
So, we have a delegate, and we're alternate delegate,
Yes,
but only for when he doesn't go.
right.
They haven't done
You
it.
could still go.
It's the paperwork, what does she use it? We've never been given any of the paperwork.
Whoever shows up first
Is you-
and signs in represents. And then if the president, if you come in first, sign in, president comes afterwards, well, that's it. You have the flag, not her.
Right, but there are extra packages available when you go there. Either at David's desk or some of the sign-in places, they do have extra packages. And if they don't have them, come to the UCO office, we have them available. They're usually available by the front desk on the right-hand side. We have a stack of them.
Okay,
So,
if I were the one delegate to go in and get the package at the meeting,
yes.
what am I supposed to do with it? Share it with all the board members?
Well, that's what we expect you to do.
Okay, because I have to do something.
Right.
Okay.
But now that you know, now you should, whoever your delegate is, and they say, I need a package.
Yep,
Okay,
very good, thank you.
all right. Yes. Yes.
The paperwork from the delegate assembly, have we posted that on the UCO website monthly?
No, it's not listed on the UCO website.
But John, the meeting is on the website.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Actual recording.
Yeah. So, but like I said, the paperwork, everything that's in that package is available at the front lobby of UCO. And if you come in and we run out, let us know, because we always have backup copies. A list of all the unit owners should be available to all the officers. It's amazing how many people come in, they don't know who lives in their building. There are officers, I don't know who lives in that unit. So, our recommendation is that at least once a year, you get an update from your management company, who lives in what unit and how to get in touch with them. Corporate seal, this is a very important thing. In order to be able to do business, your corporate seal should be left in your building. State statute requires that seal to be within 40 miles of Century Village. Can't be in Canada, can't be in Mexico, can't be in California, Michigan. If by some chance your treasurer, your secretary, president, whoever has that seal, takes it out of state, for less than $25, you could get another one. If you don't know how to do it, come and see Donald and he'll be happy to order you one for your building. Your corporate seal is how you do business. You can't process a sale, you can't process anything. If you want anything pertaining to your business, which is a Florida corporation, requires that seal. Yes?
And what if the prior president did not hand it over?
You get another one.
Buy another one.
But they're using it.
That's fraud.
That's
Call
fraud.
the police.
That's it.
And call the lawyer?
Call the lawyer, call the police, call whatever.
Using
I
a,
did.
using a seal that you don't have authority to use is no different than forging a check.
I did that.
It's fraud.
I did that.
The lawyers
Nothing
will
was
talk to
done.
you unless you're
Well,
And it's still being used.
assigned.
For what?
what are they using the seal for?
From just what I found out to let her daughter.
Maryland has an internal issue at her association that involves a previous board member and a deceased board member. This is something probably
No,
should be
no.
discussed. in-
Yeah, okay.
Joanne was never a board member. Her mother was.
Yeah, this doesn't belong at this meeting. Sorry, Marilyn.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. You can talk to us privately in the office, but it sounds like you need to be working very closely with the sheriff and your attorney.
I've been all over.
Okay. Well, you got to stay on top of it. All right.
I have.
If you have a new owner, a new tenant, let them know about the Yuko Reporter, which is the paper that Ruthie puts out every month. We have 3 local channels, 590, 591, and 592. Everything that goes on inside Century Village is listed on those 3 channels. Every meeting that we have is available. Everything that we record is available on there. Currently, there's things running about House Bill 913. There's a segment in there from Phil Massey, our insured partners person, explaining about the option sheets and the dates. If you need any more information, let us know. But go on those community websites. Get yourself acclimated to what's going on. All work done in the building should be done by a licensed and insured person. Okay? It is up to the board. If you are a board member and you see work going on, make sure that you have a copy of the person's license and insurance. Make sure that your building is listed as additional insured. I have one right now. I got another one today. You're gonna see it.
Great.
Same. Okay? Yes, sir.
Is there, I'm not from Florida, but workman's compensation? Is
Yeah.
that the requirement?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
otherwise it's on your workers' compensation.
Yeah.
There's a little box on the certificate that says, is the contractor exempt or not exempt from workers' comp? It should never be blank, and it should never be marked Y. It should always be marked N. If you don't see an N, don't accept it.
Now, if you're on the board and you see somebody obviously doesn't look like they're licensed and insured, do you have the right to ask this guy for it, or?
Absolutely. If you're a board member, that's your job to say, listen, no work should be done unless we see a copy of your license and insurance.
Personally, I like to use my property manager as the go-between. Something goes on, hey, get down here, I want to see it's your job. Find out what's going on here and let me know. That keeps you from getting into tete-a-tetes with your neighbors. You gotta live with these people.
Right.
There's a Florida website, right, that lists all the license?
My Florida license.
Yeah. All right. I mean, a handyman can change a light bulb, but should not be doing plumbing work or electrical work in your unit for obvious reasons. When you have a new unit owner or a renter coming in, explain what a common element of the building is. Catwalk is a common element of the building. Their patio, lanai, whatever you want to call it, that's a common element of the building where the individual unit owner gets use of it, but actually belongs to the building. All the interior walls in your unit belong to the building. They do not belong to the individual unit owner. So the big thing now, everybody wants a wide open space. They take out the wall in the kitchen, they take all that stuff down. They can't do that. They have to ask for permission. You need plans, you need engineering studies, whatever you need to do. And you need, in some cases, you need approval of every single board unit owner. Some just require board members. Some major modifications, depending on your bylaws, require a vote of all the unit owners in your building. What makes it worse, some is simple 51%, some say 2/3, some say 75, and some say 100%. Every bylaw is different. Yes.
Aren't those buried walls that they take out by the kitchen?
In some cases, they are. That's why you need an engineer to let you know.
Yes, these buildings are 50 years old.
But there are some sections where the walls are structural.
And I know the garden department buildings all look more or less identical, but the construction methods, because over the years that they built the place, are different. Most of the buildings that have load-bearing interior walls are in the northeast quadrant, but you got only an engineer is qualified to tell you for sure.
Right. You need to do that, okay? It's very important that you stay on top of it, okay? 25, if you have 25 units or more in your building, you should have a website. The deadline, must have a website. Now, why do you want to have a website? Very simple. There's a lot of as you go from one board to another, from one regime to another, paperwork gets lost. Perfect example, some work was done 2 years ago, the board members, none of them are there anymore, and they want to know what happened. Who got the bid? How much did we use to paint the building? How much concrete work was done? All that should be listed on your website. Now, a year ago, it was 150 units or more that needed a website. It went down to 25. So if you have 25 units or more in your building, you're mandated that it used to be December 31st, 2025. It is now January 31st of 2026. You must have a website. My personal recommendation, whether you have 16 units or 100 units, should have a website. And this comes into play with House Bill 913. When the House Bill 913 first came out, it said that anybody that asked for any information on your building, governing documents, bylaws, rules, regulations, you, the board, were responsible to give it to them. You had no choice, whether it was a unit owner or a realtor. And then somebody rethought it and said, no, wait a minute, we can't do that. So it is now, if you have a person that's selling his unit, and it is up to the unit owner to give the realtor all those information and all those documents. But guess what? Who's responsible to give it to the unit owner? The board. So if it's listed on your website, I just had one put up, it's wonderful. Because you can give access to unit owners, to board members, what they have, all your financials, governing documents, everything that we've done in our building over the last 36 months is now available on a website. And if a realtor wants by bylaws, rules and regulations, they can go to the website, they click on my documents, and their documents are right there.
Awesome.
The same thing for a unit owner, yes?
Who do you have set that up for you?
There are people that are doing that. We'll talk to me after the meeting, I'll give you somebody that does that. Yes, ma'am?
Well, I got the same question, that we get
Yes.
somebody ethical and reliable, especially with.
There's somebody that's doing a very good job and it fits. There are some people that are using Seacrest, their website to do this. I am not sure that it's complete compliance with the state statute.
I had one yesterday where the board was absolutely certain that their Facebook page would suffice. And I'm like, I don't think so. I really don't think that's gonna work. You need a company that creates a product that's statute compliant. That's the most important thing.
You have to have, all this information has to be on it. If you did a SEER study, anybody that 3 stories or more, all that information has to be on there. All your financials, as many documents as you can put on there, the better off you are. And again, since not every board sits there permanently, people die, people get older, they leave, and nobody knows where those records are. I lived in a building in Canterbury, where we had documents for 25 years. And then a new board came in and said, guess what? We don't need all this shit. And they threw it all out. So everything that was there for 30 years was no longer available. Did we need it for 30 years? No. But now state requires minutes of every meeting that you have has to be held on for at least 7 years. So not everybody's gonna be sitting around for 7 years holding on to those documents. If they're posted on the website, just go to the website. You're done. Yes?
And plus, you don't have to have all the paperwork
Right.
hanging all over the place that
Yeah.
keeps accumulating.
Yes, sir.
That way, you don't have to speak to the sellers who need
Right.
the papers.
Well, you shouldn't be talking to the sellers anyway. Or the buyers, or the realtors.
The board shouldn't?
No. No. If a
That's
person
what I'm
is
saying.
selling, if a unit owner is selling a unit and he requires paperwork, you send them to the website.
Exactly. I
Okay?
disagree.
Assuming that you have it. Otherwise, you are still responsible to give that unit owner everything that he requests.
So it's more work.
I'm agreeing with you.
It's more work. Yes, ma'am.
what about for the people that don't, especially the older people? They
Right.
don't, or they don't speak English so well, they don't, they use phones that make a phone call and hang up, that's it. No voicemail, no computer, no, they don't know how to do any of
It
that.
doesn't matter. It's the responsibility of the association to have a website.
Oh, that part I have no
Yeah,
qualms
but
about.
you're not responsible. If they can't speak English, that's not your problem. It's the responsibility of the board to make it available, and it's basically DBPR. And those of you that attended the class this year,
No, I wasn't talking about, it's the unit owners. A lot of unit owners don't have access to internet and stuff.
that's not your problem. The state requires you, under 718, requires you to have a website.
No, I understand that.
They
That's
go to
it.
the library.
Since 2018.
They go to the library,
Yes.
they have computers there.
But if, whether the individual has a computer or not, it is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to fulfill state statute.
Okay, but then what about like budget meeting mailings?
Yeah,
Okay, that's still required 14 days in advance.
absolutely.
Right, and 14 days before the end of the year.
Yeah, what does that have to do with your website? That's just the mailing.
That's right.
Once the budget is approved, it goes on to your
No,
website.
no, I understand that.
But everything else before that,
And then you have the boards that do absolutely zero.
well, those days are gone too, because now, if those of you that attended the last class, the DBPR now has
no, I
put in a
understand.
situation
I
where that
understand.
if a board does not follow the rules as they're supposed to, the first offense is a misdemeanor. They will contact you, they will straighten it out. If you choose not to straighten out with DBPR, whatever the state requires you to do,
I know,
now becomes a felony,
I know.
okay? So it behooves the boards to have people here, and this is one of the issues that we have. We just had someone last Friday. The whole board doesn't live in Florida 6 months out of the year, okay? You should always have at least 2 board members on the board that live inside Century Village or can do business for the association.
When you say felony,
Yes,
okay, do all the board members then get a felony attached to their name?
I don't know, I did not get an explanation, but this is what we were told.
Well,
You get a warning for the first time, it's a misdemeanor. The second time, it could escalate to a felony. Whatever that means, it could be fiduciary, could be money, could be whatever, I don't.
No, fines, yeah, in my experience, they fine them first.
Okay.
Notify them.
But again, this is something new in the law. And they
Yeah.
also hired more people for DBPR. I think that's why they want the DBPR updates.
Thank goodness.
They know who to contact.
Yeah, and there's free phone numbers for the Osgoodman, and there's a whole educational section, which is wonderful. You don't have to call an attorney,
Well,
and there's nothing like that when I asked other associations, they don't know about those numbers.
Well, they have, again, you should, my personal recommendation is, even if you have 4 units, you should have a
Oh,
website.
I'm not disagreeing.
It makes it very, very easy. I have 3 more items, and then we'll open it up to questions. Census. Every association should be taking a census every 2 years. Years ago, you had to do it, and you had to file it, there was a fee. You no longer have to, you still have to do it, you no longer have to file it, and there's no longer any fee. But you have to keep it as your records of your association. Again, we had an individual association that, this is why we're educating you. We had an association that got sued. What the lawsuit was some kind of discrimination thing, age-related, and the first thing that the attorney asked the board, where is your census? And they said, what census? Guess what? They lost right off the bat.
We actually have 2 working through the system right now.
Okay. So it behooves you to do the census. And again, use your management company, let them mail out the information. It's a simple page. They have to tell you how old they are, where they're living, and they have to give you some kind of an ID. Whether it's a driver's license, passport that shows that they're alive and how old they are. okay?
That's for the 80-20 thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the 80-20, and you can own it, but you can't live there if you're under
Okay.
55.
All right, so there's some confusion about the 80-20 rule in quotes. And much of that confusion is created by the agents who are saying you must take it because you don't have. The association may allow up to 20% of their residents to be
Board of
under,
directors.
but they don't have to let even one.
Right.
That's a very common confusion.
But what happens when, you have one board says no, next board, they change all the rules, and they allow things.
Well, that sounds like something that's really should be discussed with your board internally.
No, that's useless.
Okay. Well, okay. House Bill 913. If you're not aware of it, read it, go online. The people that went to the Condo Expo got a nice 3-page breakdown of all the different things pertaining to House Bill 913. I'm going to make some copies. I'm going to have them available at the front office. Read it. If you have a computer, go online and put in House Bill 913. It spells out, it puts a lot more responsibility on the boards of the associations, and it defines a lot of things. Yes, ma'am?
Does it help with the new rule on the SERS in your reserves that you have to?
It talks all about SERS, it explains the whole thing.
No, I know with the SERS, but now the financials have to be split out.
Yes, it's all explained on there, how to do it. It gives you a breakdown.
In that paperwork, yeah?
Yeah, I'll have it either this afternoon or by Monday. There'll be some copies available
Oh,
in the
great.
lobby.
That's confusing.
It is very confusing because so far they've had 3 updates and the law hasn't been in effect for more than 6 months.
No, but
So,
also if you
it's
have.
very confusing.
If you have straight reserves or pooled reserves or a mixture of both, it's, okay, thank you.
All right, and the last thing that we have, as of October 1st, 2025, you should have an online account with DBPR. That's where they want you to register your association. So I know you've all done it. We had like 30 days to do it, and it was a little complicated, but I tried to do it. I got kind of bundled up, so I had Seacrest do it for me. All right. That concludes what I have to say. Now we have a half hour. You're all to ask us questions. We'll try to answer whatever questions you have, other than legal questions.
Or marriage counseling.
Yes, no marriage counseling, yes. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
On the census every 2 years, we have a list of everybody, all the others, and their date of birth. But you say you have to have an ID also?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you have to do this every 2 years.
Picture from
A picture ID.
Would
Passport
you get
or,
that from their, when they purchased, when the ID was given?
You can if they don't respond.
Yeah, in my building, my wife was able to get, I believe, 18 or 20 out of 24 fresh licenses. A couple didn't want to give it, so she went back into the records and pulled out the originals. But we only do that when we absolutely have to.
And so I just take a picture of it?
Yeah,
Just a picture?
yeah, and print it
Not
out.
put a copy in the file?
But
Correct.
you should have a copy of a letter that went out with the date of 2025 to requesting an update for your building.
You use the form that Seacrest will provide for you.
Right.
This way you
Because
know
it's
you're
got to
doing
be
it right.
dated. You might put a form that has no date on it, so that you can update it every 2 years.
And that's a picture of ID of.
They require a picture, something that has your date of birth on it. Your driver's license, your passport, something to show your age and date of birth. Okay.
That's for all the unit members?
That's for every single unit owner, yes.
Every resident that lives in it.
Yeah, every resident in your building. Yes. Somebody had a question. I thought go ahead, John.
You know, the pressure's coming down on the associations drastically this year. And
Yes.
I'm assuming it's gonna get worse.
It's going to get worse, yes.
When is the pressure gonna come down on the owners and, it's all on us,
Well,
and the horror stories for us, and
The,
one board member or 2 board members, nobody wants to be on the board. And so when is it gonna come change for the better for us?
Well, since the 68 people that died, I don't think there's gonna be any relief anytime soon. And that, I mean, sometimes that's what it takes, somebody dying and then people wake up and then
No, I
they
understand.
pull the strings.
Like, we got bombarded this year with all these rules, and we gotta do this, we gotta do that.
Yep, yep.
And John, my personal feeling on this is that a lot of these functions that we find onerous because nobody's paying us for it, and we have other things to do, we may have to rely more on professional management to perform these functions, and that means more money. It may become more expensive to live in these condominiums. You know,
I mean,
that's a reality.
Myself as a board member, I have no problem being on the board. I think
Right.
I'm doing a great job. They all know me. I volunteer throughout this whole community. It's just the other people don't do nothing, and it's.
Well, when they face the possibility or the reality of a receiver being appointed, because they want to be owners but act like tenants, you'd be surprised what people pop up.
I'm gonna give you a heads up, the new UCO reporter is coming out today. Most of us shall have it over the weekend. Read Mark Friedman's article, because that's exactly what he's talking about. No boards in receivership. Yes, ma'am. And then I'll go around, yeah, again.
Well, we just came in from New York on Wednesday, so there's a budget meeting that we're having on, in December 7th. And my treasurer sent out, she put out a memo
Right.
that we're having a budget meeting December 7th.
Okay.
And she told me to send it out to everybody. And I presumed that she had gone through Seacrest, because we use Seacrest.
Hmm?
So I emailed everybody and texted everybody that I had on my list.
Right.
The 24 unit members.
Right.
That we're having the meeting on
Okay.
December
It's more
7th.
than that.
You sent out a copy of the budget?
Yeah.
No, I didn't send out the copy of the budget because I didn't have it at that time.
You personally get a hold of Seacrest and ask them if the mailing has been done and ask for a certificate of affidavit of mailing. Don't trust even your fellow board members, because just what you're saying now is putting the hair on the back of my neck going up.
Yes.
I know, that's what I'm.
Get a hold and make sure it's done. And if it's not a big deal, just reschedule your meeting and have Shauna do the mailing for you. But make sure it's done.
They gotta be at least 14 days. Yes, lady, in the back.
So I just commenting about how frustrating it is to be a board member and board.
And you're finding that out quite a bit lately.
Yeah, and thank you for all your help. But I'm finding myself incredibly frustrated with the level of service that we're being provided by our management company, Seacrest.
Right.
And I agree with you. I think it's going to cost more, but I'm curious how many buildings in the last year or so have left Seacrest and gone to another better managed company.
Mrs. Horn, we know that number, but that's not something we're going to share. With that would be kind of proprietary.
Okay.
Just
so-
as I wouldn't tell your business to any of these people.
Yeah, so just to finish, we're interviewing companies, our building is interviewing management companies now, and anyone who is interested on December 3rd is more than welcome to come to the Wellington Federation meeting and hear someone present. Real Manage is coming to present to us. So.
I have a personal idea on what's going on. When this community was created, Seacrest had 100% of the associations, and when these contracts were created, these management contracts, I called them management light. And the thinking, I believe, at the time was that we were a retirement community, we had people from all walks of life and professions, and the boards themselves would essentially self-manage and had the people willing and qualified to do it. Over the years, that has changed. Every one of you are telling me you're having trouble putting together boards, or board members that have a brain in their head. So I think the solution ultimately will be new contracts with more professional management built in. But that also is going to need more money. You either mow your own lawn, or you hire a gardener to mow your lawn. It's one or the other.
I want to say something. At least seven associations came to me, told me that they were getting rid of Seacrest, they were upset, blah, blah, blah. The same 7 associations, after a period of time, came back and told me they went back with Seacrest. So every management company has their good and their bad, and they have their problems. I would say before you change any management, I don't know who your management is, and I don't really care, think about it. Do a pro and con list before you do that, because you might wind up getting them back again.
Well, and I encourage people to come and listen to the presentation that we're going to hear on December 3rd.
And if you decide to change your management company, don't forget you have to notify us. Okay, there's a procedure, because we have several associations that arbitrarily changed, didn't let us know. We didn't know who to send a bill to, the bills that your building has to pay to UCO. Then they decided they didn't tell us, so they wouldn't call their own companies in through the gate to let them come in. And these management companies were coming to us and saying, well, we're working for so-and-so association, you gotta let us in to cut your grass. Well, we don't know that. So if you do make a change, you gotta let Donald know, you need to let us know, and you need to know our treasurer know who to send the bills to.
Okay.
Because we had one association, they went, what, 6, 7 months, right?
Yeah.
That they 6 months without paying any bills, because we didn't even know that they had changed. So it's very important. Yes, ma'am?
I think one of the biggest problems with Seacrest, and it doesn't matter who the management company is, most of the boards have never been board members or managed companies. The biggest problem I see is boards know how to manage the management company, and they don't make, when you go to hire a company, get your wish list. You want them to do what's the job description? They don't know how to do that. And without that, they're not gonna, and you get a committee, and you go get references, and you go talk to the other people. We have a new one. They haven't cleaned the building in the whole month.
Well,
They don't even know where Century Village is when I
well,
call.
this is what I'm saying to
That's
you.
right.
Okay?
But-
So, and what you said is very active. Now, think about this. You have boards that are coming in and complaining about Seacrest, and 6 months out of the year, they don't live in Century Village. But they're saying what a terrible job Seacrest is doing, and they're a couple of thousand miles away.
Okay, but then we have boards that live here
What-
year
and-
round.
But those are the boards that are pretty good.
No.
Because we're here every month, we see what's going on, we make a phone call and get it taken care of.
Look, fairly regularly, board members will come to see me, and they're complaining about Seacrest. They're not inspecting the building, they're not cleaning the building enough. Okay, let's pull out your contract. Take a look at the contract. I say, well, I'm seeing quarterly inspections, I'm seeing monthly hose downs. Would you like that interval to increase? Would you like monthly walkthroughs? Yes. Okay, let's make an amendment to your contract.
Right.
Will that cost more money? Well, of course it will. No, wait. 100% of the time. So yes, can you have more management? Yeah, but more management will cost more money, and that's a major hurdle for most of us.
25 years ago, I've been here, that's how long I've been inside Century Village. Seacrest used to come around once a month, meet with the president and walk around the building. Then it went to every 2 months, then it went to every 3 months, and now it's like every 4 or 5 months.
Not even that.
Okay.
You look at the sign-in sheet, they don't even sign.
Well, I'm on top of it. I know when it's supposed to be there, and I make sure that I get a copy of it.
You have an active board.
The thing that's upsetting me, that I've spoken to them about, that I would like to walk around with the building when they do their inspection, not to get an email with an inspection report, okay? But again, it's my prerogative, and they said, okay, we'll let you know when we're coming. But you have to be on top of it. You have to work with them, okay?
But
The board
nobody-
has to be active.
I bet there's no other board member pretty much in Century Village that has your knowledge and experience as you do. and you're
I'm
not
sure.
afraid to stand up.
Even if you say so yourself.
I get it. Well, good, that's true.
Why do you think I'm here?
No,
I'm
that's
trying to
wonderful.
make everybody's life a little easier and more knowledgeable. I take 2 Fridays a month, once with
No,
a
it's
small group
great.
and once with a large group, because this is important. It's to make our lives in the village a little easier.
No, and
You know-
let me tell you, it's greatly appreciated.
We try, and
But
we,
look who shows up.
one month I had 3 people, I still gave my presentation. One month I had 54 people. And again, for the month of December, I've canceled because of all the holidays.
Right.
Okay, so I'll be back in January.
One thing I want to ask about, people are now, and they are, afraid to be on the board. But some of the associations, and I know one that I was in, we got to have 20 board members, okay? There used to be 34, almost 40. That's right, okay? But now they can't get, after the new laws,
We know where you live, Sally.
no, not anymore. I moved into
We still
one,
know where you live.
that's true, but the new one's worse. I mean, worse. They have done nothing, period, 0. And I tried for 4 years to educate the people that were on the board at Dover. And what you just said, I gave up. I'd pay for the attorney. Let's have we don't need a board to have a committee. You got to stand up to them. Nobody, 0, said, okay, that's it, I'm done. The big boys can go after them, and I did. DPR took care of them,
Okay,
okay?
so I'm glad that it works.
Well, but now it's worse where I live.
Okay, well, you gotta start all over again. You know, history repeats itself. You gotta go around in a circle.
I'm not gonna waste my time 4 years trying to educate them.
So next year, when you come here and say, I moved to another association, and that one's a bunch of numbskulls too,
No,
we may think the problem may rest someplace else.
no, it's not, because I give them options. I'll educate you. I'm willing, I have been willing to volunteer. They ask me, but then nothing happens. Okay. At Dover's a problem, it's the 20 board members. So 2 years ago, I get, we have, all you do is change it down to a realistic number to get a quorum. They haven't done that.
Sally, we have given that advice out, Fausto and
I
I
know.
both. If you have a 18-unit building and you have a 7-person board, and you can't fill it, maybe the solution is to redo your documents and bring it down to the statutory minimum of 3.
Listen,
Some have done that.
now we have 56 unit owners, and they can't get 7.
I'm in that class. I have 7. We just had our financial meeting, 7 board members, 3 showed up. So I couldn't even approve my budget, okay? And I don't want to tell you, on the census, I mailed out 56 forms. I got 21 of them back, and 6 were incomplete. So think about that. But
It's a
I
challenge.
still knock on the doors, and the first few minutes, I stay calm, and then I get a little bit upset. So, you know, so I told them, next year, I'm not going to be president anymore. I want to see what happens. Oh, you're not going to leave. They don't know me.
Well, that's exactly
But
right. You
I-
threaten,
It's,
and
it's
That's what I
throughout the
did.
whole village. There are very few buildings that have a complete board, okay? And we do the best that we can, and that's why I'm here, to try to motivate people to come onto the board, come into UCO, volunteer as a vice president. Sounds like you have the credentials of an election coming up. Should be putting your name on that list.
well, let me tell you, 2 years in a row at Dover, they filed, and another educational is, if your documents say that your maintenance is due on the 1st, you better have it paid and cleared by the 1st.
Thank you for coming. Happy Thanksgiving.
Seacrest doesn't even take it out of the automated ones, they don't even take it till the 17th of the month. 22 out of 34 people were not.
All right, Sally, I think you're chasing everybody out the room, so let's give somebody
Okay.
else a chance.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have a question about a stop sign.
Stop sign? That's Donald.
That's 100% Donald.
Yes.
Tell me where. Have you told me about this before?
Not you, but maybe somebody, Patrick or so. But I'm in Coventry. And when I'm coming out from Coventry into Norfolk, it is not easy to see the traffic on Norfolk.
Into Norwich.
Yeah, Norwich, sorry about it.
What's blocking your view? Is it a shrub?
It's it's a stop sign for the bus.
Yeah.
A shrub and a bench and even the garbage. Also it is it's not only to trim down the shrub. It is the whole situation. You nearly have to go into Norwich to yell and see who is coming down.
What building do you live in Coventry?
In B.
You're in B.
In B. Also,
D is in Donald.
No, B like Bill.
B is in boy. Okay. I'll go take a look.
And so when you're coming out there, it would be good if it would be a stop sign there from Norwich, because...
So you want me to add a stop sign? This is where I gotta tell you. I just can't add a stop sign. I can't remove stop signs. I can't add stop signs. I would have to hire an engineer to do that. The stop signs were laid out 60 years ago by a civil engineer. And I learned the hard way years ago in New York. I'm not qualified to I can change them, I can make sure that they're within the manual, but I can't really add. You could cause more problems by adding. I can tell you that we're constantly looking at these stop signs, and at some point we're gonna do a community-wide re-signage project. I can't tell you when, but I will take a look at that corner and see if there's anything I can do to make it a little better.
Right, now, also the idea would be a stop sign because they fly by there on this north.
And listen, and the stop sign will only, listen,
Right, but
just remember, you're talking to someone who got a ticket for rolling through a stop sign that he installed. That happened to me.
Also it's not that we definitely want to stop, but somehow it is not easy, and an accident is coming down the line for them.
All right.
It's hard to get.
I'll take a peek on my way back to the office.
Make people to slow down at least. I mean, you could put down something.
Yes, last question before we gotta go. Yes?
About the signs, Donald, can you put a caution sign up?
Listen, I can't just put signs up.
Okay.
Signs are determined by a manual.
Okay, what about the signs that have turned that you don't even see them and they fly through it? Because the stop sign is there, but it's turned and you don't.
If you read my reports every month,
Yeah.
you'll see that almost every week we're changing out stop signs and different signage. We're doing it a little at a time, but we are making progress on it.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
If you're a president and you get an invite to come